Hey, FitLovers.
Hey, FitLovers.
Welcome back. I am Ramsey.
And I am Mina.
Well, last month we did a show on whether or not it's a good thing to have little or no expectations and to just be open to all possibilities. Well, the response that we got for that show was pretty good. So we thought we'd expound on the topic of having no expectations, but this time apply it to relationships. Ooh. Mina and I sometimes see eye to eye on things and other times we disagree. Let's see how it goes today. This is the FitLove Show. So if you watched episode 22 of the FitLove Show, No Expectations, but Open to All Possibilities, you may recall we discussed a couple of ways of looking at expectations and tried to determine if having expectations is a good thing or a bad thing.
We discussed 3 primary bullet points in that show. 2 schools of thought regarding expectations, having realistic versus unrealistic expectations, and being open to all possibilities. We'll be using all 3 bullet points for this show as well, but this time we'll be applying it to intimate relationships.
Before we get started, we'd like to ask you guys to please click that subscribe button and don't forget to turn your notifications on so you'll be notified first when new episodes are released.
All right, babe, let's get it cracking.
In episode 22, we talked about how some people believe that if you don't have expectations, you're less likely to have disappointments, while others believe that having expectations is essential for creating the life you want. We also talked about how these 2 ideas can coexist. Well, they can also coexist in a relationship.
Again, everyone has some expectation of something or someone, and it's no different in a relationship. Maybe you aren't comfortable with PDA or public displays of affection and expect your significant other to respect your boundaries. Maybe you're a stickler for getting quick responses to text messages from your significant other. Maybe you expect to have sex so many times a week, or so many times a day in my case. It's important to talk about these expectations with your significant other. It doesn't mean that the 2 of you will always be on the same page and there will never be any disappointments. Those things happen in any relationship. But it will ensure that the 2 of you are able to reduce your disagreements and disappointments by having a clear understanding of each other's expectations and boundaries.
And for those who believe that having expectations is essential for creating the life you want, or in this case, the relationship you want, creating goals and making plans for your relationship will do nothing but enrich your lives and make the goals and objectives for your relationship more attainable. Maybe you and your significant other aren't where you want to be financially. Maybe the 2 of you would like to start a family one day. Maybe the both of you would like to have the freedom to travel the world and live life on your own terms. These are all great things to strive for. Just remember that building and maintaining a successful relationship not only involves planning for your future together, it also involves being present in the moment with each other. Having realistic versus unrealistic expectations for your relationship can mean the difference between success and failure. When we talk about realistic versus unrealistic expectations, we're talking about things that you have control over versus the things you don't have control over.
If you're with someone and believe that things will never change, that there will never be any conflict and everything will just be dances and roses, that is an unrealistic expectation for your relationship and one that's doomed to fail. Again, build your expectations on things you can control. Instead of having the unrealistic expectation that there will never be conflict, understand that conflict happens. You may not have any control whether or not the conflict happens, but you do have control of how you react and respond to it. You have full control over being a good listener or preventing the conflict from escalating. Remember, conflict, disagreements, and disappointments are going to happen in a relationship, but you can dramatically reduce the amount of conflict and disappointment the 2 of you have by having realistic expectations.
Now, there are some expectations that you should have in a relationship. You should expect there to be honesty in your relationship. You should expect there to be respect in your relationship. And you should expect there to be healthy communication in your relationship. Notice that I didn't include love on that list. Love is obviously very important and can add a blissful nature to your relationship. Make no mistake, there are plenty of people out there who have successful relationships because there is honesty, respect, healthy communication. Do I recommend love being a part of your relationship? Absolutely. I personally don't believe that your relationship can reach its full potential without love. But love alone won't cut it. There have been plenty of couples out there who were in love but didn't make it because they were lacking honesty, respect, and communication. The idea of being open and accepting to all possibilities in your relationship is subjective to begin with. Each relationship is different. What works in one relationship may not work in another relationship. Having said that, we believe that being open to all possibilities in your relationship doesn't mean only being accepting of the good things that happen in your relationship.
It also means accepting the fact that things aren't always going to go your way. Ramsey and I have managed to keep things running smoothly in our relationship by understanding these basic ideas. Understanding that there is going to be conflict from time to time. It's not a matter of if, but when. Now, when we say conflict, we don't mean verbal or physical abuse toward each other. No, we're talking about healthy relationships where both people are free to express themselves equally.
You have control over you. Remember, you don't have control over whether or not the conflict happens, but you do have control over how you behave during the conflict. You may think that speaking harshly or disrespectfully to your significant other to get your point across makes you feel like you won the argument or something. But what you're really doing is losing control and potentially escalating the situation. Your significant other can't read your mind, although some women think they can read their mind. Communication is key. Make sure it's done with honesty and respect. You definitely have control over that. Compromise is key. You've heard us say that communication is key. You just heard us say it. But when you're in a relationship, it's very important to be able to compromise with your significant other. We all want things to be the way we want them to be. And maybe you had it like that when you were single, but probably not. Even when you were single, you probably still didn't get everything that you want. So why then would you expect to always get what you want in a relationship? You may see eye to eye with your significant other the majority of the time, and that's great. But eventually, you're going to be in a position where one or both of you has to compromise. As long as you aren't compromising your morals or values, a little compromise isn't a bad thing. Builds character. Well, that's our show for today, Fit Lovers. We thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
We hope you got something positive out of this today.
We did.
Please like and subscribe to our channel, FitLove 101. Share this video. And don't forget to turn your notifications on so you'll be notified first when new episodes are released. Thanks again, Fit Lovers.
Thank you.
See you next time.